Today, we're diving into The Outer Worlds 2. The reviews are in, but the Steam player numbers are shockingly low. Should Obsidian be worried? Plus, Counter-Strike 2 just faced a massive market crash, losing over $2 billion. What the hell happened? And Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are finally here. Malding's played them, and his verdict might surprise you. Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends. It's good playing with you, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my Halloween-loving horde of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
Hey now, happy Halloween, I'm alive! Yay!
He lives.
Stellar costume, boys. I'm glad you brought it this year. Looking
Thank
good.
you, Captain Stubing.
Wait, 100 episodes, though.
100 episodes.
How did we get here so fast? It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Congratulations,
I mean, can you even believe that we would be putting up the 100 episodes right now? I mean, on Halloween, no less.
I know.
No.
It's an awesome
looking like the studs that we look like right now.
It's better than ever.
Yep, we're knocking it out of the park, boys. All right, let's get this show started. But before we hit the headlines this week, we're only 160 subs away from our goal. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump into the headlines of the week. First up, Outer Worlds 2. Moulding, tell us all about it.
Absolutely. The Outer Worlds 2 released for the masses yesterday. That's if you didn't buy the more expensive edition to get your hands on it a few days earlier. And as of recording, it's sitting at an 82 on Metacritic. And here is what some of the reviews have to say. Dalton Cooper at Game Rant rates it a 90, saying, while the occasional technical hiccup is disappointing and the lack of a new Game Plus mode is a bummer, The Outer Worlds 2 still provides an excellent action RPG experience that will greatly appeal to Fallout fans and those who enjoyed the original game. Travis Northrup at IGN says it's an 80, adding, once you get past a weak first act, The Outer Worlds 2 sharpens Obsidian's RPG formula with smarter writing and better combat. I want to note that Slant Magazine is an outlier here, giving the game a shocking 40 and essentially tanking the Metacritic total. I was looking forward to seeing what terrible aspects of the game the author experienced there, only to be told right in the first paragraph, quote, mere minutes into The Outer Worlds 2, the first game's ubiquitous Moon Man mascot welcomes the player to the experience with the disclaimer that any relation to other real or imagined corporate hellscapes is purely coincidental. That joke would probably land significantly harder if Outer Worlds developer Obsidian wasn't currently owned by a corporation supplying the technology powering a genocide and laying off thousands of employees in pursuit of technology designed solely to avoid hiring new ones. In my opinion, if you can't separate a game from its ownership in the process of a game review, you have no business writing game reviews. But you can read the full review on your own and judge for yourself. So, boys, what do you think? I've had a chance to put some hours into the game already, but do these reviews make you want to check it out yourself or jettison it into space?
Well, I haven't really considered picking up the second one because the first one really wasn't my cup of tea all that much. I put some time into that one. I wasn't fully feeling it. So I've heard a lot of this stuff in the second one has been improved upon. What do you think? I mean, if that's kind of my sentiment, Moulding, is that?
Well, before he tells us, I want to just allay my fears.
Yes.
Look, I didn't love the first one because it took so long to get into, and I got so bored. But the trailers on this one make it look so much more fun. The combat looks better and smoother than the first one, and the jokes look more fast and more furious. The story looks a little bit better. The self-referential evil corporation. This one looks really like one of the biggest games this fall. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, even though the first one didn't really hit with me. Now, Moulding, tell me, am I in for a disappointment or is this right on?
Yeah, you're in for a disappointment, at least for what I have experienced in the first few hours. So immediately you're put into this kind of like, for better or worse, like a tutorial area. That's the first thing that you do. And there's tons of fighting, tons of sneaking around. It's great. And then once you finish through that and they put you in the game proper, I fought 2 robots at the very beginning, and then I haven't fought anything for 2 hours. It is talking to
No.
people. It is walking around
No.
in this dead kind of city where people are sporadically around and just constant dialogue.
I
Now,
don't even like talking to people in real life.
and it's your favorite thing where they stand there. They just stand there in front
No,
of you
the
Oh,
portrait.
no.
and talk at you. I'm honestly super disappointed, and I don't know that I'm going to pick it back up. Now, take all this with a grain of salt. Like I've said, I've only played the first few hours, but I haven't shot my gun once. The sneaking is kind of subpar. I built my character to do some pickpocketing. The pickpocketing, you just stand behind the person and hold a button for 3 seconds and you take all their stuff. And as long as they didn't notice you or no one saw you, you just get all their stuff for free. There's no challenge to that whatsoever. I'm really disappointed. And it makes me feel like I'm playing Avowed. I get that same feeling of this beautiful, colorful world that's just completely dead.
Okay, but I
Oh,
kind of
So,
liked Avowed because the combat was
ugh.
good and it was at least interesting. Is this, I guess there's no combat yet, so you
Combat
wouldn't
might
know.
be great. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been 2 hours since I fought anything. I honestly, it's really, that part is really disappointing. So maybe it's the way I'm playing it. I'll put it out that way. Maybe because I was picking up quests and I wasn't immediately then running out and doing those quests. Maybe that's why. But man, walking around this town with people just standing there,
No.
I was not very impressed with it at
well,
all.
Malding, let me ask you something. Is
Yeah.
the comedy try hard cringe worthy? Because that
I,
to me,
I,
I can't. I don't think I can handle any more try hard cringe worthy jokes
it's,
anymore. Like I don't
it's
know. I think I'm at a max. Like we've had a lot of that, and I'm just like, can we just shy away from that just a little bit? And I feel like this game is just that.
I'm not even sure I've run across any jokes, to be perfectly honest with you. Like
Huh?
they really are just talking at you, and then you get a choice. Now, the other one of the great things about it is if you like the RPG, like if you really love role playing, the setup for that is actually really cool. Like the options that you get when someone's talking to you, if you have like my thing is sneak and let's say I think a sneak and lockpick. If you have the combo of those two, it will unlock a dialogue option for you to choose. So I was able to actually bypass a little thing just because I had both those two options chosen for my character. So that's great. I love that. I want to be able to go talk to other people and see what they have. But I want to fight, man. I want to shoot my
Yeah.
gun. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I haven't done it in a couple hours.
Wow. That
So,
is
but so back to the jokes. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of like tongue in cheek, like, haha, we're talking about corporations, just kind of like what that slant review said. And no, it's not really landing for me too much, to be
Oh,
perfectly honest.
yeah,
Ay, that's a
yeah.
bummer because
Yeah.
this was going to be like the big fall game I played over the Thanksgiving break or something like that. I was kind of holding off on this one because it looked so good. But it sounds like I'm not the only one holding off on this game. Lord, you had a little story you were talking about earlier and numbers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes. So this was seen by an eagle-eyed Redditor, and that goes by the name Mango Lemon Shark. And it looks like
Delicious.
Outer Worlds 2 can't catch the original game's peak player count, even at launch. Now, let's jump into this real quick. This is coming from the Steam DB charts. And let's see, we had so Outer Worlds 1 had a peak player count 5 years ago at 20K. And right now, the Outer Worlds 2 is at the all-time peak player count is at 13K.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's still about 1,400 people on average playing the first one. I mean, it says 11,000 for the second game, which is understandable. People are still, you know, jumping in. But I know we discussed this a few, like a week or two ago, and we were talking about how these games are can't be judged off of these Steam numbers. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna judge the game just a little bit on these Steam numbers. And this is one other important note is the Outer Worlds 1 also was an Epic exclusive for an entire year before it came to Steam. So this is like, that's even a bigger hit because this thing, Outer Worlds 2 came straight to Steam. So that's another note. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, what could possibly be going on with this game? Is it the marketing wasn't hitting enough? Was that $80 fluctuation where they dropped it at 80, went back down to 70? What do you guys think?
All great points. That's a really good question, Malding.
I think, granted, we are comparing apples to apples here because they're both Game Pass games, but I think that's probably the big thing is that most people are playing this on Game Pass. But unfortunately, we don't get numbers from Game Pass, so we'll never know if actually people are playing it. I do know that the first couple achievements that I picked up, and I started playing last night as soon as it unlocked. The first couple achievements that procced were not the special achievements. So 10% of the people who had the game had already got those achievements. So that's something, I think. That means that a lot of people are playing it on Game Pass. But that's what I
That's an
would say
interesting gauge.
is the main
I
thing.
like that, Malding.
Yeah,
That's like a good
because you
measurement.
get
Have
that
done
that
before?
little diamond,
Yeah.
that diamond achievement if under 10% of the people have got that achievement. But if not, then it procs as normal.
Interesting. I like that.
Or maybe this game isn't as big as Microsoft is pretending it is. It's like, yes, everyone knows Obsidian. They're a well-known studio ever since Fallout New Vegas. The first game when it came out, Outer Worlds, unfortunately hit at the same time a game called Outer Wilds did, and I
Oh,
got the
yeah.
two confused forever. And I heard more about Outer Wilds when these games came out more than I heard about Outer Worlds. I just kind of, it wasn't for me. I tried it and I just assumed everyone else liked it. Maybe everyone else didn't like it. Maybe people weren't asking for more of this game and Microsoft just didn't know what to do with their money. And they're like, oh, we'll save money just by having them make a sequel.
That's a really good point. I could definitely see that. I mean, to be honest, that was sort of the sentiment that, when the first game came out, like we have friend of the pod, Ross, he was just like, yeah, it's a short game, like cool. Like, and that was sort of, I think I sort of at that point was like, oh yeah, okay, just pick it up. And I'm like, all right, I played a little, was kind of it. Like, I wasn't hounding for a sequel, and I don't know
No.
anybody else who was hounding for a sequel.
I was really excited for this game though, man. Like this was the reason I kept one extra month of Game Pass going. Thankfully I'm still under my $19.99. But I was like, hey, maybe I'll go that extra month at $30 so I can keep on playing this. But no, I think my Game Pass is getting canceled here pretty soon, and because I don't
As
need
it should. Everyone
yeah.
listening needs to cancel their Game Pass and
It's
only
true.
dip in when necessary. We have to stick it to the man. I'm still fired up about that.
I agree with that. And I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah. By the way, for our listeners who listen to the podcast and don't watch us on YouTube, I'm dressed as Waldo, by the way. Yeah. And Dan is dressed as a captain. He has like a pipe in his mouth right now. And Lord is dressed as a crawdad. He's got these two big crawdad claws and a nice like crawdad face.
And some
I just wanted to
antennas.
bring that up for our
My
listeners.
hands are so sweaty in here. It's unbelievable. Like,
yes,
it's
this
disgusting.
natural fabric that I'm wearing right now from China is not very breathable, I'll tell you.
It's like 100 degrees in these claws.
It's suffering for your art, gentlemen. You are such good people. I love it. But that's a very good mention, Malding. Yeah, exactly. And we'll post pictures on social of our ridiculous costumes. So if you hate YouTube or whatever, feel free to watch it or look at it there. Okay, speaking of sweaty, though, Counter-Strike 2 the economy apparently just totally took a dump. What happened there? I don't follow that game much, and Lord, I know you love it, but 2 billion being wiped from a market, that sounds harsh.
Yes, this is crazy. So the Counter-Strike 2 market crash wipes 2 billion of real money from the game's economy. This is from Screen Rant's Chris Carter. Thanks to a new update from Valve on October 22nd, the covert tier of cases is now tradable and can be converted into other gear, such as gloves or knives. You might think this is generally a good thing, as accessibility can be an important factor for players on a budget, but it also led to an in-game economy crashing to the tune of roughly 2 billion. Naturally, when a crash like this happens, many people chose not to hold on to their items, which devalues more items and so on. As a bit of background, Counter-Strike 2 has cases that you can open, which function a lot like skins in other games. Gloves and knives are amongst the rarest of them all, and knives in particular can go for thousands of dollars on third-party markets. As soon as the floodgates were open to make them far more accessible to nearly every player, the market started to crash. What do you guys think? I mean, I know you're not super involved in the CS2 world, but can you believe this type of money was getting thrown around in
Well,
the
no, but
marketplace like
first,
this?
I
Yeah.
have questions though, to
Yeah.
make sure I fully
Yeah,
understand this.
same here.
The story essentially is saying that they made gloves and knives much more accessible, so they
Yes.
lowered the value, right?
Yes.
Okay, so and it's because this is a PC game, you could take your own glove or knife and sell it out of third party, or is it first party marketplace?
Yeah, you can do third party and first party. You can either do
Okay,
the Steam market or you can go to a place called like you could do like a skins monkey and go and get like real
oh,
money straight for the
of
knife
course,
or gloves.
Skins Monkey.
So
But so wait,
how does the
was
stuff transfer
yeah? Do you have a
from
code or
one
something you
character
can?
to another?
Oh, well, yeah, there is like a sort of like an exchange sort of program. I've never messed around with really skins monkey. Like I have sold on the actual first party Steam marketplace where you just put the item up for sale and somebody goes along is perusing and just pull and buys the item right out of your inventory and it goes to them. It's
Wow.
Does
yeah,
Valve make any sort of income
yeah,
from your sale?
they do. So
Oh, they
they
get a
get
piece of
cuts.
it.
Okay,
And
and then have they responded to this story? Because
no,
this sounds like it's gonna hurt them too.
they have not. And that is they apparently they're notoriously silent
Yeah.
on these types of situations, and this is one of the bigger this is why it's definitely one of the biggest crashes they have pulled, and it's really just from an update. So what is really going on is there's certain items, there's these trade-up contracts that you can do, and you take a certain 5 different items and then you can trade it to, and the big ones are knives. That's the big one that it like a lot of the economy, like it said in the article, super expensive. So now you can take these 5 red items that are still very rare, and you can put them in this trade up contract and potentially pull a very high value knife. Now, of course, that is like it's great that you can potentially get a knife now, but like it just dropped the prices of all the knives in the marketplace like honestly up to like 60%. I think it like kind of bounced back from like to like 50% from the original value, but like still like knives that would be $1,200 are now selling for like 600, and it's like
1200. So were people
$1,200.
using this as like investment
Yes.
properties, as
And that
like
is
they would have like a knife and they're like, oh,
yeah,
this is a rare one, I'm
yes.
waiting for it to get a certain level and then I'll try to sell it on the marketplace?
100%. And that's like
Wow.
what
Whoa.
people didn't think Valve. I think the assumption was they didn't think Valve was ever going to pull anything like this. And they were using the knives like as I've been explained, it like a cryptocurrency. They just figured
Mm.
they bought something and it was going to just continue to go up, or like an NFT, whatever. And it's true. There's only a select few. They're going to the value is going to go up, and then it just out of nowhere, Valve was just like, actually, we're just gonna totally change how you do things. Like, just trade it up. You can get a knife, no sweat, and boom, it just. And I think to me, like, when I heard this story, it just made me like, I'm more so just like, well, Valve just showed how much power they really have over this market. I think a lot of the players just believed they were totally hands off. But now it's like, no, they can do whatever they want. If they want to make like a little in-game update and crash this whole thing, 2
Yeesh.
billion down the drain, they totally have the power to do so. It's nuts.
I mean, it's a little bit on these players I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of silly investing in anything that's digital like this. So I mean, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for people who got messed up from this, but I don't know. It's not my scene, so I don't have anything invested in it, and maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yeesh, that is rough. Sorry to hear it for those
Yeah,
people.
but I'm in the same sentiment as you, Malding. I would never like drop I would never do that.
No,
Like
that's
I just
nuts.
have I just want to play the game, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
I just want to be good at the game. That's my
No,
thing.
wait, one more thing. Are the like if you get a special knife, does it do more damage or is it just a
No,
skin? They're just skins.
completely visual, just
Oh my
That's
god.
cosmetic.
crazy.
100%
Crazy.
cosmetic. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy story. I know. I'll keep you guys updated because I don't think we're gonna hear the last of that.
Yeah, I'm
They
so
have to
curious.
respond. With 2 billion, they have to respond.
I agree. I think this is one of those cases that they will. I think they'll say something. Maybe not a lot, but I think they'll drop something on Twitter.
Hmm. All right, let's move on to some better news, though. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remakes came out.
Yes.
Malding got his hands on them early, so played them so he could tell us all about it. So take it away, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks to Square Enix, I was able to play Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake in advance to be able to share my thoughts today. And everything you're going to see if you're watching on YouTube has been captured on the Xbox Series X. So let me start out. So these are two games, Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Dragon Quest 3 came out like a little bit less than a year ago. That is the first chronologically in the series. So they put that one out first, and then Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are the next two. These three games together do something, or together are called something. The Erdrick trilogy is what the three of these together are called. They've done a lot of updates from the original games. The original games were called Dragon Warrior back on the NES. And I don't know about you, Lord, but these games are very close to my heart. I remember playing them when I was a little peanut. They're even older than like Final Fantasy, the very first Final Fantasy game. This is based on a game that's even older than that. And yeah, so these two games come in a package together. And the first one is okay. I'll put it that way. You're only playing by yourself. You don't have any party members. It's just your character running around this very, very pretty world. But it does feel very lonely, in my opinion. There's not a lot of, you have interaction with NPCs, but you don't have anyone kind of helping you out in your journey. And because of just the way JRPGs have evolved over the years, you're kind of, you're having a party to help you out, to heal you when you're in trouble. And it kind of makes Dragon Quest 1 actually a very difficult game. I was dying quite often, and playing in you do have a pick of 3 difficulties, and I was playing the middle difficulty, and even with that I was dying quite a bit. So that was hard. The game's a little bit slower. It is based on a game that's like 30 plus years old, so they did a lot of updates to it to make things better. But yeah, it's not my favorite of the two. However, you get to 2, and 2 is really, really incredible. I had so much fun with it. They have great characters. You have a party of 4 different people. One who's a brand new addition, wasn't included in the very first one. They have great personalities. They have their own powers and skills, and I really, really loved 2. I had a lot of fun with it. They're both absolutely gorgeous. That HD 2D remake is just it's just so good. The colors are vibrant and beautiful. There's a couple spots where you're in like a dungeon, and or even at night you can be outside in the real world, and you have a lantern, and the light is absolutely fantastic. Does a lot of reflection off the walls and stuff as you're walking around. So good. If you are a JRPG fan, I think these two games are an absolute must buy. Like, I really think that if this is your jam, you will not be disappointed with these two games. So I had a lot of fun with it. First game's much shorter than the second one, probably about I think I took maybe 15 or 20 hours, somewhere in between that, to finish it. And the second one's longer, about 30 hours or so to finish that one, a little bit more probably. And there is a lot of stuff in a lot of their end game quests, a lot of new quests to do. There's a whole underwater section in the second game that wasn't part of the original. I just had a lot of fun with these games, and I highly recommend it.
Wow, that sounds awesome. That's really exciting to hear. Can you tell me about some of the like improvements or quality of life fixes they have, and also how is combat?
Absolutely. So combat is, if you are a JRPG fan, combat is JRPG. Like, some of the monsters are vulnerable to certain types of spells, and there'll be a red indicator on their hit points when you hit them. If they are, that is super fun. It involves a lot of strategy there to make sure you're using the right powers. I don't have a good memory of what the powers and stuff were from the original one, so I can't really gauge how different those are from the original, and what they added and what they didn't. But I remember the very first game, it was you versus one enemy, and now you have multiple enemies of which that you'd be able to fight in the first one, versus just you versus like a slime, or you versus like a bunnicorn. I think is this like bunny with a unicorn horn. So that was one of the changes they made. Yes, quality of life improvements. They added this thing, which I don't even think was in the third game last year. There was this quick menu option that allows you to just hold your right button, or right button on the Xbox, to bring up a mapped 4 powers that you can just whip up your zoom, whip up there's a power called nose for treasure. And that allows you it tells you how many treasures are in the level that you are at the time. Because one of the big things about this game is you're finding treasures in like buckets and in cabinets and stuff. So, that old trope, RPG trope, where you go into someone's house and just loot the hell out of it, that is
Yeah.
still here. But now you have a power in the second one that tells you how many of those treasures are in that world, or in that level, so you can pick, or so like, oh, I have all of them. Thankfully, like, I've got all of them, or there's one left, and there's a little indicator in their menu that shows you how many treasures that you have left. A couple tips and tricks for everyone who plays this: increase your battle speed immediately. The battle speed is set to slow when you first play the game as default. Put that thing up to ultra fast as soon as you can, or else it is gonna drag. Even at ultra fast, once you finish a battle, there's still a few seconds of telling you how many XP how much gold you got. All that's still there, but now it goes much faster with the battle speed. Use your items. A lot of people complain about these games sometimes that there are too many encounters. Well, they give you items to limit those encounters for a period of time. And in the second one, there's a magic spell that you can use that will limit those encounters. So use those. That'll help you out a lot. And there is no shame in running away. You can run away. There's a chance that the enemies will hit you a couple times before you do, but no shame in that, because this game saves after every single encounter. So if you're trying to get through a hard area just to get to the next town, no shame in running away. It'll save it for you. So if you get into trouble, you'll just go right back to that last encounter, which is a huge plus, at least for me, when I'm trying to get to that next town.
Well, there's some good pointers there, Malding. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
I'm just thinking
stuff.
about the first one. Like, honestly, when I think about the first one, I and just going solo, I'm like very intrigued by that, because you're right, you don't get that anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
almost kind of like it, because sometimes I'm like, man, you have the companions, you're doing so much chatting, yada yada, but I can't even imagine a like kind of you it's like hard to even imagine a solo experience, because that's just so totally has totally different from any current JRPG right now. So that could be a fun little
Yeah.
experience to go and revisit, because I'm trying to remember if I can't even remember. Like, I'm racking my brain to try and recall if I've played maybe emulator at some point. But geez, I mean, this is something. Well, and then considering getting it, is this would this be a game that maybe would be good handheld? Like, maybe if I get it
Oh,
on the Steam
yeah.
Deck,
I'm
or
not. I'm not a handheld person, but I think this is a perfect game for a handheld thing.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Anything that's in these JRPGs, I think, are the perfect type of game because you don't have to have quick reflexes. You're just, it's a lot of strategy, hitting the right power at the right time. But yes, I would absolutely say if you're a handheld person,
Sweet.
this is a great game for it.
Speaking
And
my
as
language.
far as yeah, that's what I thought. As far as ratings go, I'm going to give it a rating here. So since it's a combination of two different games, I'm going to give the first game, through really no fault of its own, because it is based on this 30-year-old game, I'm going to give that Dragon Quest 1 a 7, and I'll give Dragon Quest 2 a 9. So put them all together, I think it's a good average. I think this is a solid 8 game that I'm really happy that I got a chance to play. And it's also gorgeous. If you're loving that HD-2D kind of look to it, it's really pretty. Waterfalls and fountains and all great sound effects. The music, Dragon Quest has very, very iconic music, just like Final Fantasy does, and that is all here in this game. So
yeah, like,
I do recommend.
I'm trying to figure out a way to word this correctly, but I feel like every HD 2D remake that has been coming out, they've somehow figured out new tricks to make it look even better. Do you say this is just the peak of it right now?
As far as right now, this is the best look. These are the best looking ones that I've seen. I love Octopath Traveler. I think they're prettier than Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler, gosh, I would maybe not muted colors, but I feel like the colors are a little bit darker. This one is extremely vibrant, like the blues, greens. When you're on the ocean and when you finally get to go below sea level, it is the blues and all that is it's really gorgeous.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. So thanks again to Square Enix for letting me get my hands on it, and I had a blast.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, now let's talk about Call of Duty real quick, because there was a story that just came out yesterday, and I'm dying to hear what you guys think about this one. Essentially, Paramount Pictures is going to make a Call of Duty movie, and it sounds like it's actually starting to happen. According to Variety's Matt Donnelly and Brent Lang, Paramount and Activision are teaming up on a live-action Call of Duty movie with Taylor Sheridan and Peter Berg set to co-write the script. Berg, best known for Friday Night Lights and Deepwater Horizon, will also direct. Sheridan, of course, is the powerhouse behind Yellowstone and Sicario, so this pairing definitely leans into the military action vibe that fits Call of Duty perfectly. So what do you guys think? Could this Call of Duty movie actually work with Taylor Sheridan and Peter Berg behind it? Or is this going to be another video game adaptation that misses the mark? Or is this the last we've heard of it until it hits development hell and it'll never really happen in real world?
I'm going to make a prediction that this is going to be the best video game adaptation ever, because I like Taylor. I know. I'm going to put it out there. I don't watch Yellowstone. I don't watch a lot of Taylor Sheridan stuff. However, Wind River, one of his movies that he did at the very beginning, is one of the most incredible movies. It's touching, it's dramatic, it's really scary, it's sad. It is an incredible film. If he has anything to do or puts any of that power that he put with that film into Call of Duty, I think it's going to be a really, really incredible film. And Friday Night Lights, man, that TV show is one of the best television shows that was out there, at least for the first few seasons. Absolutely. I think the combination of these two, it's going to be the best video game adaptation. I'm putting it out there right now.
Wow. Pinch me. I must be dreaming hearing that from Malding, because that was actually a really good take. Because I agree. He did Sicario and he also did Yellowstone. So both of those, I honestly think this could be awesome, but it really also, I think it needs to come down to whoever gets cast. It needs to be the right casting, and it can't be. I feel like it needs to be a serious take. I think the first one needs to be they need to lock in. They need to get the tone right.
Yeah.
If they go for a Yellowstone sort of more heavy, which there's a little bit of not lightheartedness, but there's some good quality written jokes in that show, which I'm in for. It just needs to have the right cast. You need to have a really strong, maybe one of these up and comer, young dudes to take the lead role. Like I think that would be a good idea, but I guess we'll just see. I feel like this is definitely like this is a greenlit thing. I mean, they already tried to go for the Halo, which I don't think that did not really pan out. I know it's having
No,
a
it
second
was
life on
awful.
Netflix,
Yeah.
but
People say that, but it was truly bad.
yeah, I think it's
The
but
story
I think
was
they're
bad.
gonna. I think they'll actually like. I think they'll learn from that mistake and they'll make this actually good. That's my take. So
All right. Well, just to be an adversary and play devil's
sure.
advocate, I'm guessing this one ends up in development hell. Sure, it's got a lot of
Mm.
steam and excitement right now, but you've got to imagine a Call of Duty movie is going to cost a lot of money. And so, a lot, like I was saying, will be writing on this script because will this script be good enough to warrant the 200 million plus budget, which I guarantee you that's what a movie like this would take?
Oh yeah.
Or will Paramount execs get it? Maybe there's some sort of like acquisition from another company. The whole media is consolidating. They're laying off 15,000 people, and we never hear about this movie again. That's
Hmm.
also just as likely as it being the best picture of the year. So, my bet, unfortunately, is we might get another update or two, but this won't probably, unfortunately, make it to production.
Well, a little inside baseball here. Taylor Sheridan, actually signed a deal with NBC Universal worth $1 billion that's going to start in 2027. So this is going to be one of his final projects for Paramount when his deal ends there. So,
and it's
yeah.
true. If anyone has the muscle to get over the finish line, it would definitely be him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I really question not their talent, but the industry right now because it's
Yeah.
so crazy and chaotic with acquisitions and layoffs and all that sort
And
of stuff.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, geez. I mean, I wish them the best because it is such a cool franchise. It was truly unfortunate what happened to Halo. I saw that and I was like, man, the people who created this don't understand Halo. The story isn't very good. It didn't look very good. It was just really not well done. And I would hate for such a huge franchise and video game series to get a bad adaptation like Halo and go the same way.
Yeah, but one final note is I am glad it's not like a Netflix movie or anything like that. Like if there is somebody that I would have more faith in, my money is on Paramount than like a Netflix. Let's just say that
What? You
because
don't like
You mean
Netflix?
comparing between those two? I see.
I mean comparing between the two, I think I'm putting more stock into Paramount. You disagree?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't know because
Some of those original Netflix
Yeah.
movies are not very good.
I agree.
agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But weren't they the ones that put like 325 million behind the Electric State, which I never saw because it's a Millie Bobby Brown movie, so it's like
Yes.
they got the cheddar to make it happen.
They
They
do,
do,
but
but that movie tanked. It was
Oh yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
a critical bomb.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want this movie to be made and then be a bomb. That's
Yeah.
that would be the worst of the worst because then we'll just never ever see anything Call of Duty related movie again. It'll just be
Well,
the end.
I'm
I
still
know.
holding out for that Dead by Daylight anthology series. That's what I
Yeah.
want to see. Give me that. That's
I
what I'm waiting
know.
for.
Exactly. You need your own production deal to create that because I think it's
I
brilliant.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
All right. Well, talking about taking a swing and potentially a miss, we'll see. The latest rumor on the next gen Xbox says it could drop the multiplayer paywall that we've all been paying into since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
So essentially, according to the new Windows Central report, Microsoft might finally be killing the Xbox multiplayer paywall for its next gen console. For over 20 years, Xbox players have been paying anywhere from $4 to $10 a month just for Xbox Live Gold. And now through Game Pass, of course, just to play online. But internally, Microsoft is reportedly discussing making multiplayer completely free, bringing the experience more in line with PC gaming, where online play doesn't cost anything. The plan isn't final yet, but it would be a massive shift. Microsoft has made billions over the years from what many call the multiplayer tax, since even paid games like Call of Duty, Madden, and Diablo 4 require that subscription to play online on console. So Microsoft's next gen console is still rumored for a late 2027, but this could be one of its biggest selling points if it happens. What do you guys think about this rumor? Would dropping the multiplayer fee make you more interested in the next gen Xbox? Or could this finally push PlayStation and Nintendo to do the same? Or is it just a rumor?
I mean, it's about time. Like Microsoft has been doing this for far too long. I think everyone should drop it, but like we is there any real difference with like when you're paying for these sort of online services and expecting a premium multiplayer experience? It never happens. Like you don't get anything different from paying for these online services. I would expect it like if this if you were to be paying into this monthly fee, I would expect the multiplayer to be completely lag free, no frame drops. Like that's what I would expect. And so I think this does make sense to kind of shave off at least a little bit of price, some, fee going into this next iteration, especially if this thing is going to be $1,000. Like, at least you don't have to pay a monthly fee to play multiplayer, which I think would be one way to get people. I don't think that would be enough for me to be like, okay, I'm on board, but it's something.
This is one of those things that I don't get angry about until I start thinking about it, and then it makes me furious. It makes me furious that at the very minimum, I have to pay $10 a month just to play games with my friends online. And if I don't play that game, a bunch of games just are completely inoperable. I can't play Dead by Daylight unless I pay $10 a month. And when you think of it that way, that is infuriating. This should go the way of the dodo. Get rid of this stuff. This is so, and it's not just Xbox, it's PlayStation. It's the same thing for PlayStation, and correct me if I'm wrong, same thing for Nintendo as well, right?
Yep.
If you want to play games on the Switch online, you have to, although theirs is super cheap, right? It's like $20 a year.
Yeah, but theirs is super sucky too. Talk about lag.
Yeah, that's true. And it's really inconvenient too. Their online thing is just the absolute worst, but it's cheap. So I'll give it that. So yes, if I'm paying $1,000 for a console, which I will absolutely not do, but if I am going to do that, you better give me that online play for free.
I 100% agree. Which sounds nice in theory. And the whole logic behind this is essentially that the new Xbox next gen will be like ultimately a PC underneath your TV playing both PC games and console games. And since PC players don't have to pay for online, we wouldn't have to on console. But I think this is nothing. This is nothing. Because what's going to happen here is they are going to say, okay, look, you don't have to pay $10 anymore for online access. Great. But you're going to still have to pay. They're not going to change the prices of Game Pass or anything else like that.
So it's going to go up.
Yeah,
if anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then they're going to turn around. Yeah, potentially raise the price. No, I don't think that it's not going to be a huge thing at all. It's not going to change the prices. I do wonder what Nintendo and Sony will do when this happens, though. But my guess is the next gen Xbox is going to be priced so poorly that it's going to be so expensive that it won't be a real factor, and it won't be around too much longer. That's my guess. They had an earnings report just this week where they talked about the history of the Xbox, the sales itself, and it fell again 2% this year compared to last year for the same quarter. And before that, it had fallen, and like just the history of it. It's clear that this strategy is not working for Xbox, of this Xbox Anywhere thing, at least is in the hardware space. It is killing their hardware. And I don't think something a small token like free servers access is going to change that.
During that call or investor thing that they had, the head of Microsoft didn't even mention Xbox in that call. Everything was, he talked about PC, talked about Microsoft. Xbox wasn't even mentioned during that thing.
That's wild.
That's insane.
It is crazy. And then recently, Satya Nadella had an interview where he was like, oh, our competition is short form video. And I'm like, bitch, I know you try and think like you sound smart by trying to change the game and who your competitors are. But if you truly think that, you are so wrong. I don't sit there with a controller and I don't play short form video. Your competitors are Sony, Nintendo, and PC. And if you
Yeah.
would just fucking focus on what your job is, maybe your console wouldn't be the shitter. So, yes, I think when I think about things like that too, Molding, it does piss me off. And that's the reason we
Yeah.
have to bag on Xbox, because they just are so baggable when they do
Like,
shit like
Yeah.
this.
they're just thinking like people are distracted by short form video while playing Xbox. Is that what they're saying? Like,
No,
what does that even
they
mean?
think of things in like competition for your attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that you're it's an attention economy.
But it's
So
like,
if your
Yes.
attention's going to TikTok, then it's not going to Microsoft.
that's
Yeah.
see, that's a problem. You're right. The focus. Keep your
Yeah.
eye on the ball, Xbox. What are you doing?
I'm going to
They
say
don't
right
know.
now, 2026 for molding is going to be the year of PlayStation. Like, that's where I'm going to switch things up, and I'm going to, there's
Good
so
call,
many
Mulder. It's
PlayStation
probably-
games that I haven't played that Ghosts of Tsushima, Ghosts of Yotei, both those I want to play. I've never played God of War. I haven't played a lot of the
Ooh, good one.
Uncharted games. I think
Awesome.
there's a lot of those. I'm probably gonna purchase that Game Pass. It's not called whatever it is for PlayStation that it's
PlayStation
called. I'm
Plus
gonna grab
Gold or whatever.
PlayStation Plus. I'm gonna grab that, and I think I'm gonna play a lot of these games that I've been missing out on.
Yeah, but it's kind of barren over there too. Once you get through that backlog, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
what the hell am I doing?
That's true.
They don't
That's a
put
good
new
point.
shit on there, so
Yeah.
they don't have my attention.
Yeah,
that's for
that's called-
sure.
I'm looking forward to that third remake of Last of Us. That's what I'm. Or
Oh,
fourth remake, or however
yeah.
many that they're up to now. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
good
looking
luck.
forward to.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll find some good games over there, but I've definitely made my way through them. And then speaking of good games, there was an article this week just about AI and how some people are excited for it and some people aren't, and creating potentially games, whether they're good or not. We don't know, but Lord, you had this story.
Yeah, this is from CNBC's Ian Thomas. Can AI create the next Grand Theft Auto? Take-Two Interactive CEO says no. That's for two reasons. Zelnick told a room of technology exclusives at CNBC's Technology Executive Council Summit in New York on Tuesday. The first reason, which is increasingly placing AI companies at odds with Hollywood, musicians, and other creative industries, is intellectual property. That's the first problem. But perhaps the biggest hurdle is when it comes to utilizing more AI in game production, is one at the center of what he believes is why the company continues to be successful. Let's say there are two constraints on AI. Could we push a button tomorrow and create an equivalent to the Grand Theft Auto marketing plan? He said. The answer is no. A, you can't do that yet. And B, I am of the view you can't end up with anything very good. You end up with something very derivative. Strauss said that is due to AI inherently being backward looking because its competition is tied to big data sets of old information. So interesting take. I feel like this was kind of he's going pretty based on AI right now, because he mentions how AI is just tied back to old data. Do you think something new like Grand Theft Auto really can't get cranked out by AI these days?
So I have a couple things about
Let's hear it.
this. One being him saying that AI couldn't come up with a marketing plan for Grand Theft Auto. What marketing plan? 2 trailers? That's what we've got, 2 trailers and a pushback of time. That's their marketing plan. Yeah, AI can come up with that, I'm pretty sure. So that's a really silly thing to say. The second thing I'll say is this week on Twitter, a couple AI videos kind of went viral. One being like an example of what a game could look like. And while it looked like a video game, it was complete nonsense. Like the subway car appeared out of nowhere. The guy would choose one direction, look the other direction, and the environment was completely different. Like, it was dog shit. But that is the worst dog shit it will ever be. It will only get better from where it is now. It will only increase. So that, people who are naysayers about AI, you're looking at the worst it'll ever be. It will only get better from there. But I don't necessarily want to play an AI created game. I think AI can can add things to a game. I wouldn't mind like an NPC possibly giving me an AI side quest to do. Maybe, I don't know. I'm hedging a little bit though, because that does, in theory, it sounds better than it would probably come across. So I don't know. And I also don't want people to lose their jobs either. So I would rather have a human create a game than AI. That's what I'll put my foot down on.
I also have a strong reaction to his response. So I totally agree with your points, Malding. Both really good points, and I want to just add to them. Not only for the marketing plan could it create it, but he says the marketing plan would be derivative. And I'm like, wait a minute. Have you seen marketing plans and have you seen video games in general? Have you seen Ubisoft? They, I think, created maybe one game a decade ago, and then every single one has been the same.
Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. Those two games, fine. And then everything else is that.
Exactly. So to say the industry isn't derivative is completely batshit insane. Now that's one piece.
Yeah.
The second thing is everyone's losing their shit over AI, but it's the application of AI that we really need to be careful about. I hate to say it, but AI has a place in our future and right now. It's just how you use it. And to say he sits there and says AI doesn't work, but I guarantee you his programmers are putting in code, checking it with AI, getting it to write a little something. Look, AI is creating video games. No, definitely not. And I'm not saying it's creating GTA 5. But what I am saying is that they are going to be cleaning their code. They're going to be doing things. People are using AI now. Now, it's when these higher-ups get a little overzealous and they fire 14,000 people. That's ridiculous. And I'm looking at you, Amazon, because that's something you cannot replicate. You need humans to be in control of the robots. But AI can be a tool for good or bad. In Amazon's case, it was a tool for bad. But here, it could potentially be a tool for good. And I do 100% agree. AI can own now. It's not self-aware, so it can't have creative thoughts. It can't come up with jokes. Correct. It can only tell you what it's also read on the internet and that sort of thing. But that's not to say that that doesn't have value if used as a tool in the right way. So he's wrong.
Well said. And his name's Strauss Zelnick. I don't know if I'd skipped over that. But that's just
that's like a Bond villain name.
Yeah, Strauss
it totally is.
I just want to drop that. I mean, Malding, when I saw that AI created, I thought that was a troll video, but I guess that was serious. It was very weird. It was serious.
Yeah,
I think it was. And it is just, it literally looked like a joke. And so if that's how we're basing, if that's what we're expecting from AI video games, then wow, we are in serious trouble. Please continue letting humans be in the loop, because that looked like garbage.
I mean, the very first thing that the character that you're watching does is take cover in front of a pillar instead of behind the pillar. Like right away, you're like, Jesus Christ, this is so
doesn't
stupid.
make any sense. Nothing in there. But yeah, you're right though, Dan. I definitely think they're, of course, cleaning up code. I'm hoping, they don't lose touch with their artists, and that I feel like that is, I think once the artists really get scratched, man, that's where things really get hit haywire. But I would also really love, because you said AI for NPCs, Malding, it would be really cool if we got an AI, you talk to an NPC and then it rewrote something in the game somehow, so you had almost side quests on the fly. I think that would be so cool, and that would be a really cool
reacts to you in a certain creative way, like you have some interaction to it.
Beautiful.
Couldn't be programmed by a real person because they couldn't anticipate your reaction to it. That's where I think there's an interesting little tidbit.
Total value there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just to take that even one step further, I love all the Mass Effect games because sometimes your choices would carry over. But one of the great things I love about ChatGPT is it remembers me for good and bad and the shit I've said. And so, a couple days later, it'll be like, oh, when you had eggs on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I had eggs on Tuesday. Now, if they could do that with video games where it could remember that I had eggs on Tuesday, I would be totally wow.
That'd be cool.
That's awesome.
Aim for the stars, my friend. Aim for the stars.
Good stuff.
Well, that pretty much wraps everything we got for this week. If you're watching on YouTube,
happy 100th Wait, happy 100th episode, guys.
Yeah,
It was
Yes,
a good
happy
one.
100th.
It was. It's been an
was really
amazing
good.
100 episodes, and I can't wait for another 100 more with you guys.
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right, well, that wraps up episode 100. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on the podcast, please share with a friend. And on behalf of Matthew Maulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us this Halloween. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.